Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the season 2 grand finale of Enduro Experience League, GT7 League. And we are here in a legendary Le Mans. And this was, it was planned to be initially a 3 hour race, but then um, a lot of people can have made it through 3 hours, so we are dialed back to 2 hours once again. And just like every day, if you want to join the league, and then the description will be available once I finish the live stream. And in the description, you can find everything. Preferably, if everything is happening. But anyway, as always, let me check the stream and see if everything is in order. And then we're gonna go into the grid, and I'm gonna talk about the race a little bit. And yeah, and then of course, we will see what happened in the race and what will be the outcome of the championships and everything. I'm gonna talk you through all of this and just let me check what's the status of the stream and I'll get back to you. All right, everything is in order. So um, I'm not gonna talk about the points as of right now because I need to get this thing started because we have a lot of happening in this race. So first of all, this is gonna start early in the morning. Not the usual Le Mans start in the afternoon and then we go into the night and then we finish it in the afternoon or slash evening. But then this is not the case. We had some issues with lobby hosting, so we had to migrate to another person. And the person is Scott because if you're following the series, you know that. So we had to switch to Scott, and then we are having everything in this race. When it comes to the weather, when it comes to the day and night cycle, when it comes to the battles, and then of course a lot of penalties, ton of penalties, and a little bit of heartbreak as well because we have some disconnections as well, and which is really weird. We have no clue, and but let me just go into the race replay and prepare the replay for you guys. All right, so we'll go into the grid and then let me turn on the race info so we know I can introduce the grid for you. So let me see if we go like this. Probably, yeah, this will work. All right, sorry about that. All right, we're starting with Presley, and Presley is currently representing Pro Am because he's just getting used to the wheel, and I think he's getting back to his normal speed, and he will be performing really good because in the sprints, definitely nobody could touch him through the sprints. I mean, he struggled a little bit at Daytona, and then that gave me the chance, actually sealing the championship. So the pro am, we don't have any pros here, so the pro category, the pro division, it'll remain same, and the championship and the standing, everything will remain, and it is already sealed. The championship already went to Ricky, and the podium places as well. Those will remain the same. And but let me just go through not the scores, actually not the scores, but I'll talk to you about the results. Let me just find it. I mean, it's all over the place. Let me see. Season 2 results. Yep. Okay, currently the season 2 results. All right, so it went to Ricky. The pro category championship went to Ricky, and then Voodoo gets the second place, and Wolfsbury gets the third place, even though he was not present for throughout the. I mean, except for 2 races, he was not there at all through the season. So 9 races he was not there. But then yeah, we did not have many pro people, and then the divisions were created midway through. But then when it comes to the pro am, that's where now the fight is because the pro am, yes, the championship is sealed, and obviously I won it, so I'm really happy about that going into this race right here. I mean, this was a chaotic race for me as well. I mean, it was not the best race for me, but yeah, I'm going with that relief that the championship is already won. And then, but then there's my teammates as well. I mean, whenever I get the possibility, I mean, I wanted to participate in the team game, and I want to get my team, of course, in the front. And then we have Scott and Timo. In the game names, you can see the Belgian flag, T4HS. I don't know how to pronounce that. So Timo and Dad in P3, they are fighting for P2. Currently, Scott is in P2 for in the championship standings, and Timo is in P3. But then they are just 1 point difference between them uh, for the standings to change. So Scott obviously need to stay finish ahead of Timo, but then Timo needs to finish 2 positions ahead of Scott in order for him to secure P2. And then when we move into the AM division, it's a mix up between these three Orange Falcon, which is Carlos, and then yeah, Northern Northern Open, which is Oscar, and then of course Doctor Cat, aka Andre. So it is a toss up between these three, and yeah, it is not the championship is not sealed. The points difference were between a couple of points, and so that's it. So we have a full podium to be decided in this race for AM category, and then we have P2 and P3 to be decided in this race for Pro Am category. And then, yeah, and then a lot of action to come in our way. So let me just take a sip of my coffee and then we go through the grid. All right, so P1, as usual, the man who was in Pro category, Pro division, and then as of right now, fighting in Pro Am. Due to he's getting accustomed to his new wheel, but then yeah, he secured P1, and then we have myself in P2. Had a decent lap, of course. Could have gone a little bit faster, but then of course was denied by Presley because he's obviously a faster driver than any of us. And then we have Scott in P3, a really consistent, crazy fast driver in the league. His consistency level is out of the charts. There's no argument about that. One of the fastest in our division. If not, no, I won't be calling the fastest, but yeah, the people will talk shit from me because yeah, yeah, I tend to be a little bit fast. I mean, not fast as in the pure pace, but then maybe inconsistency. But then Scott is right there with me. I think toe to toe, and he's one of the biggest challenges, rivals that I had through the championship. And we have Dragon, and yeah, he's in BMW as well. And of course, he's a new guy. We met him in the sprint race. He joined randomly to the sprint race, and he liked what the league is about, and he's really happy with the league overall. So then we have Dragon in P4. I believe so. He's gonna be maybe going to compete in the pro division, maybe somewhere, because he's a really fast driver, but we don't know about his consistency because one can be really fast in one track and then totally can screw on the other track. But then we have our friendly Mussy in his Lexus because he was not having his time of time of his life in the BMW. So, but then yeah, he switched to Lexus again because Lexus used to be his car, but then yeah, he switched back after like 2 or 3 races from BMW to Lexus because he was not getting his results. And then yeah, for me, he should have never switched from BMW to Lexus when it comes to even to play the team game because yeah, I mean it's not the team game is not going anywhere. Yeah, BMW is in the second place, but then obviously he's gonna lose his performance with the car. And then we have Nerix, to known to start at the back and always finish in the let's say top five. Yeah. I mean, but this track was a really difficult track for everybody. Penalties everywhere. GT7's penalty system needs to be addressed, but I know that it is not gonna happen because you need to, I mean, the game needs to evaluate. Like you go out of the track and then you hit something, you slow down all the way, but then you still get a penalty, and yeah, you are not gaining any time off the track. So that is how it should be. But then, yeah, that is not the case with GT7. And then we have uh, P7 Timo, really consistent, of course, but then the penalties, of course, you have to take into account the penalties are brutal in this track. And then we have one of the fastest drivers in our division, Keepsy. He showed promising results in Mount Panorama, but then he was not as fast in Daytona. But then, yeah, he held himself pretty well throughout the races that we have seen. And we have Xcon returning in his Porsche, um, which is really nice to see the players who were away returning back. And yeah, Xcon, I'm not gonna name him Xcon, but he has a really famous name of Damon. Yeah. So we're gonna call him. I mean, I'm gonna call him Damon, and then we have Orange Falcon, aka Carlos, and P10 currently reading. Sorry, excuse me, leading the championship for his category, the AM division, and then we have Andre in P11. He's in P2, I believe so, in P2 in his division. And then we have Oscar in P3 of the championship, but currently standing in um, P12. But then if you think about his division, he's currently P3 starting for his division. And then we have 80s. We are yet to see him. Yet to see him action fully, but then I think he's a really consistent driver. I think maybe he's in Pro Am, maybe he's in AM, but I'm not quite sure. And then we have one person who recently joined us. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, is this Greek? Not quite sure what's the language is, but I think he's from Greece. And then yeah, he's in a Lamborghini, but I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. I mean, I don't know how to read this. But then okay, we go into the front of the pack because we need to check from the leader's perspective. We're gonna start the race. It's gonna be a rolling start, but then I know that it's gonna be a shit. It's gonna be a really bad start. I'm trying to stay away from the language. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a rolling start, and then in this track particularly, rolling start is really painful because some people are starting in the chicane and some people are starting in the straights. But then again, if you put like the grid start, people are not gonna see the bigger picture. But cars like ours, the Porsches, I mean, it doesn't matter. We qualify in the pole, and then we're gonna drag back because we're gonna fall back in a couple of positions because our car's acceleration is not really good because in a standing start, the Porsche is the worst car to start on. But then there are mixed opinions, but then yeah, I mean, I completely agree. The starting in the chicane, it's not really good. It's not really good. But then that is, I believe, so how it is in real life as well. But then anyhow, all right, let's see. Let's start the race. Here we go. Presley goes off the line, and we are green, and we have a racing in our hands. Presley gets a really good start. I mean, this is not a grid start, so this is a rolling start. You always get a really good start, and everything depends on the turns. And then comes to the turn 2, and then there goes myself into the barriers, oversteer, cold tires, and I mean, the time of the day did not help me as well. And Presley gets a really good gap here from Scott. Now everybody jumped into one place up to Timo, and I ended up in P8. But then this is what I'm saying, like, I'm so grateful that I'm not in a championship battle. But then we need to see that Presley is already flying, and then we have Scott and Dragon in the BMW fighting for P2. And this is a slipstream game. This can turn into a whole a lot of team game as well. But then this is mostly a slipstream game, and it goes into the inside Dragon, but then it's not a smart move, so he decided to back out a little bit and get the better exit through the chicane. Goes P2, P3, P4. Mussy is looking really solid, and behind him comes Nereus. Look at this, really close. The first P2 to P5 is really close, and bunched up into each other's slipstreams. And you can see Dragon gives a little bit of a bump draft, because Dragon, I believe so, I'm not quite sure, Presley is already with a half a second penalty through that first chicane. And Mussy gets into P3, gets the overtake done through the chicane. Well done on that move. But then Scott pulls away because of that, because Dragon and Mussy fighting a little bit. As you can see, a Dragon, I don't know whether they believe in a team game with the BMWs, but then this is what you should do, because the leader is going pulling away. Oh, is there gonna be a penalty for Scott, because he already looks like a little bit overstepped the curb, but then I hope it is not a penalty. But then everybody is really good, packed up tight from P2 to P5. Still, the actual position change is Mussy gets into P3, but then the slipstream is really strong. You can see a lot of bump drafting happening, because you have to play the team game even if you're not in the same team, because you need to catch up to the leader. You need to play the team game a little bit. You need to team up randomly in the track and get into the bump drafting, and then try to push each other. Nereus goes into the inside, looks into the inside of the Dragon. I think Nereus gets the place. No, he's still side by side. He did not overtake him and stuck back into his slipstream. And this is a really close fight. And then Scott has pulled away a little bit of gap, and Presley is gone. Presley is gone. I don't think we have to look at him. Look at him at any moment of the race, I think, unless he screwed it up completely. But then he's completely gone, and these four are fighting to places, and myself is out of the picture as of right now, because I have been to the dirt, and at that fast right-hander into the left-hander, but then that was a totally screw up, and Sunt comes out. Mussy goes a little bit wide there at the exit of the Porsche curves, and that gives a little bit gain, a little bit closing gap to Dragon. I'm actually running out of words. Oh, Nereus goes a little bit into the chicane. I think he cuts the chicane. I'm probably sure he's gonna get a penalty for that. And Mussy and Scott are really close by, but are not as close as Dragon and Nereus. But I think Nereus is safe from that, because I've seen him. I don't know whether it's at a push or not. It's not quite clear. And we have Timo following really closely to Nereus. And then we have Kipsy, and then we have the I don't know PA. I don't know what to call this guy. Now I'm gonna say the new guy. Yeah, new guy is back in PA. We need to sort out. We need to check what his name is, and then goes into the grass a little bit. Nereus, it's not gonna help him through this turn. Dragon goes a little bit wide. That could be a penalty, could be not. But then that turn gets a half a second penalty, because that turn is very unforgiving. If you step out a little bit wide from that curb, it's gonna be a penalty, 100%. And then it depends. There's a little bit of a team game. This is what I like to see, because Dragon knows that if he needs to catch up to Scott, then he needs to work together with Mussy, and he completely miscalculated the speed there. And having a really amazing EnduroXperience livery in his BMW. I think he's in a sprint. He's not in the sprint model. I think he's in the he's not in the endurance model. He's in the sprint model. I'm not quite sure. But then look at that. That's a beautiful livery. beautiful black and yellow white livery car. And Nereus and Keepsy is really close by, and then Timo gets the place. I think he gets to the inside and he keeps the place. Let's look at down back here. We do have a really close fight. I mean, people need to understand that this race is it's a slipstream race, because I mean, if you want to gain places, I mean, rather than fighting, you can join in together and you can push each other a little bit, because bump draft is not banned in the sport mode. Bump draft is not banned in our league, but then he completely miscalculated the braking point right there. Goes off all the way too deep into the corner. I don't know what's the name of the corner, but then I'm gonna look at it actually. But this is turning out to be a really good race. You can see Scott is still having that breathing space, and then Dragon is still working together with Musi. He keeps pushing Musi, gets the bump draft done, and then closing up the gap with Scott, and then that's how you fight this race. This is a bump drafting race. Trust me on that, because you cannot win fighting all that time, because you're gonna lose a lot of time on the straights, because getting those turns, getting those exits, and then getting those mid corner speed, everything is a really important in this race, because the straights are really long. I mean, if you lose 5 kilometers per hour minimum speed within the corner mid speed, and then you're gonna lose it. And then Nereus goes into the outside through the post chicane. They are side by side right here, but then he's the inside of this corner right now, and then he's on the inside of the next turn. No, but Dragon is really fast through the outside, and then Nereus backed out a little bit. He said, I'm gonna live another day, and I'm gonna fight another day. And Timo goes all the way wide, and that is going to be probably a half a second penalty. And then Nereus gets a 1 second penalty. I'm not quite sure where he got it, but then I think he got it through. Musi spins the car. He gets, I think, a little bit of an oversteer through the chicane, and he drops back to PA right behind myself. And you can see myself back in the picture. Yeah, that's a surprise. I mean, I definitely have the pace, but then Nereus goes in. Oh, Dragon a little bit wider there, getting a little bit slide. And these two are fighting for their life here. And Timo gets a half a second penalty. Of course, that was obvious, given how wide he went through that. But then I don't know why he gets the how Nereus got 1 second penalty, and then Dragon sees that both of them have penalty. You know, at this moment, if I was Dragon, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bump draft into Timo, and then I'm gonna push it all the way forward, and I'm gonna get that extra speed, because both of them are having a penalty. I mean, why fight somebody who has a penalty? Because the person ahead has a 1 second penalty and Timo has a half a second penalty. Why fight? Let me just bump draft you, let me get that extra speed, and then of course I'm gonna get that extra speed, and then we can catch up. Oh, that's a little bit. Oh, that was a little bit too ambitious. Dragon had the perfect opportunity, and myself comes behind with half a second penalty. Dragon had the perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity to work together with Timo, work together with Nereus, and get that extra pace, catch up to the leaders, and then when they serve the penalty, say thank you very much. He's gonna take all that place, and he bumps up to P3. But then we have seen the pace of Dragon. I mean, he's not a slouch, and he's gonna fight it back. He's gonna catch them back to. Back to them, and then myself again back in the picture. I mean, this is a great race for me, dropping all the way to P10 and then coming back up, and then dropping again, coming back up. That is a great race for me. I mean, it's not the perfect race, but I mean, what the hell? I already secured the championship, so I mean, there's nothing much for me to lose. And then we have a fight We don't have actually a fight. I think this is more like a team game between Nerix and Timo as of right now. Because if they want to get away with those two penalties, they need to start working together. They need to get that extra pace. They need to clear the gap from Dragon right now. And then I goes to the inside here. Gets the slipstream, goes to the inside, gets the position back. Then the Dragon, is he gonna fight it back? He goes to the little bit outside and to get the better entry to the corner, but then I have a half a second penalty. He doesn't have to worry about me. Like many YouTubers, many famous GT7 YouTubers say, when you have somebody in front of you with a penalty, don't fight them. Maybe try to work together with them and create a little bit of distance to the car trailing you, or create a little bit of a distance. There is a side-by-side action, but there's nothing I could do because he's already faster and I've served a half a second penalty there. This is some great fighting, and then in front of me you have Nereus, and Timo has flown because Nereus just now served a 1 second penalty and Timo has only served a half second penalty. And Dragon is right back at right at the back of Nereus. Good morning to you, Timo. Yeah, I've decided to stream a little bit early because I need to get this one done, and I need to see the replay as well. I mean, I haven't seen the replay. This is turning out to be really, really good racing between everybody, but the penalties are brutal. But then again, Dragon, you can see how much he have lost, but he's back in P4. He's back in P4, but then in reality, if you think about that, he could be P3 if he worked together with Timo there, with a half second penalty for Timo, 1 second penalty for Nereus. Oh, there was a little bit ghosting. Nereus goes a little bit wide and he loses the place back down to P6, and then myself back down to P5, and Dragon is P4. Yeah, like I was saying, with Nereus 1 second penalty and Timo's half second penalty, Dragon could have worked together. I mean, oh, Dragon goes a little bit wide, not a little bit, but too wide there. But then he saved the corner. I mean, I thought he was gonna, because on the upcoming turn, that's gonna be his outside wheels, that outside wheel for the right-hander, and then when you get those dirty tires, yeah, it's gonna make your life a lot difficult. And then we have a really good race right now. Presley's gone. Presley, you can see in the minimap, if you look at that, look at the cars. Still they are bunched together. And Scott is showing tremendous pace. Let's go forward a little bit. You can see Timo have got a really decent gap. I think this is like a 1 second gap to Dragon, and then Scott is with a half a second penalty. I think probably either through the chicane or through the exit to the straights, and then he enters the second chicane with a half a second penalty, and that's gonna give Timo yeah, that's gonna make it a really close race between Timo and Scott, because as of right now, you know, oh man, he have created a huge gap to Timo. I mean, look at that gap from Scott. This man has pace, this man has consistency, and when it comes to the penalty, we all of us got penalty because the track is really brutal, and you can see the weather is looking a little bit hazy, foggy, and we do have random weather activated for this race. So it can be a rainy, it can be a full dry race, of course. But this half a second penalty, what it's gonna do, I mean, I really want to see what it's going to do. And then myself is right back at Timo, and then what that means is that the team game is gonna play, because for me there is nothing to lose in this race. I mean, if I did not finish it or if I finish it, it doesn't matter, because the race for me, I mean the championship for me, it's already been sealed, and I'm really in a good position right now. But then the team game, of course, there is that, of course. You can play the team game and you can help the teammates yeah, gain a position in the championship. Probably, but then Scott is having a huge lead here. I think maybe this seems to be around 4, 5, 6, or maybe 5, 6 seconds lead from Timo. Actually, Presley is another league as of right now. I mean, yeah, he's entering his 5th lap after these 2 chicanes. And then yeah, he's in his own race. I mean, there's nothing for him to worry about, and yeah, unless something goes really wrong, yeah, goes fast with a 404 146 with those medium tires, goes the fastest. And then we have Scott and Timo. The gap is not close just yet. The gap is not close just yet. And then Dragon is breathing down my neck as we speak. The gap is there. The gap is there. But then the advantage for me is that I have Timo in front, and I can bump draft him, and I can gain a little bit, yeah, a little bit of speed through the straights. I mean, this is now it all comes down to getting the proper exit for the straights, and then let's see what it's going to be. Oh, the Dragon gets a lot closer, and unfortunately looks like he gets the better exit right here. And but then the slipstream actually helping me to keep a little bit sane right now, because as you can see, BMW has a really good straight line speed, and then goes into the first chicane with a little bit of confidence. But then there was a little bit of snap from Dragon. I think he just reacted right there for the braking, because you can see there was a little bit of a ghosting, and then that costed him a half a second, and he gets a half second penalty because there was a little bit of ghosting there between myself and Timo. Because I think if there was no ghosting, then I'm gonna ram into Timo. It looked like that. But then Dragon, reacting to that, he goes to the right side a little bit, and that caused him to stop a little bit and goes out of the track and gets a half second penalty. And the better exit, yeah, Dragon still gets the better exit out of those chicanes. And you can see even Timo gets the better exit out of these chicanes. I mean, I'm absolutely not having my time right now. And yeah, this is gonna be a really close one into this corner right now. I really need to check the names of the corners. But I think, yeah, that was looks like a better exit from myself. But Timo, you can see, I mean, I'm really struggling to keep in his slipstream, and the more I drift away from his slipstream, that gives Dragon the chance to make a move on me. But then for my advantage, he's having a half a second penalty, so that's gonna slow him down anyway. I mean, there's not much of fighting that I have to do. He's gonna serve his penalty, and then I'm gonna get the lead. I'm gonna keep the lead anyway from him. Brake a little bit inside to the inside of that corner to keep Dragon away. But then Scott and Timo seems like they have closed the gap a little bit. And then Dragon goes to serve the penalty, and then comes Neriux. Let me go down to this. Let me see the battle between Neriux and Dragon. Neriux goes to the outside in the Porsche curbs, and he gets the move done fairly easily there, because he has the momentum. When you get a half a second penalty, you're gonna lose like 1 second. But then goes to the inside. There was a little bit of a switcheroo. That was a great move from Dragon right there. Carried a lot more speed, and it goes in and it gets the move done like nothing happened. Let's see. Oh, that was a really tricky corner, that curve. I mean, you never know what you're gonna. Oh, Neric gets a half a second penalty. That is so unfortunate for him. Gets a half a second penalty, and then yeah, he's gonna have to serve that penalty, and that gonna give Dragon a little bit of breathing room. And we have a team game going on right now with Timo and myself. Of course, there was a lot of bump drafting, and then we need to close the gap to Scott. Of course, you can actually work with anybody in this race. I mean, it doesn't have to be your teammate or anybody. You can see, you saw that Dragon was working together with Musi. I mean, bump drafting Musi to get to the driver ahead, because that's how things work. And even if it goes way too wide there, Dragon, and it's not gonna help. But then again, Nereus has a half-second penalty because he has a little bit of a relief there. Dragon is really fast. He's really fast, getting used to the track, and Keepsy, he said that for him also this is a new track, and he needs to practice it a lot. And yeah, and Presley goes 4:03.955 with those medium tires, and we are here seeing a team game playing, getting a lot of bump draft and closing the gap. But then that made Timo goes a little bit wide into the turn. Hopefully he did not get a penalty for that, but I think he stayed within the track limits, and track limits are really tricky in this race. So let us go and go down the grid and check on everybody. But this is the main fight that is happening, because this is one of the biggest fights we have for P2 in the championship and P3, Scott and Timo. But then we cannot forget that we have a complete AM championship to be decided, a podium and a championship to be decided. So I'm just gonna go forward and then see how the AM group is doing. And it's not really looking good for our the championship leader in the AM category. He's currently in P14, and then looks like one of his championship rivals. He's currently, I believe so. I believe Oscar is currently in P3 in the championship, and if this results continues, you can see Andre at P11, and then Carlos in P14, and then if this results right now, if this continues and this is the finishing results, and it's gonna put Andre in the championship, and then Oscar in P2, and then Carlos gonna drop all the way back to P3. So yeah, I need to check the scores, because there's a little bit of, I think maybe he'll drop. I think Carlos will drop like one position. I think not all the way down to P3, because need to check the season 2 results for that, the previous race. And then we have Damon in P12, running a solid race for himself, and in his Porsche there was a little bit of a bumps in his Porsche. Went through a little bit of a fight, I guess, and then gets a 1 second penalty. Andre, I'm not quite sure, maybe through the chicane, but then yeah, there was a lot of frustration because he keeps getting penalty, and the car is not working, and I think there was a little bit of a problem with his paddles as well. There, and then we have the gap. Let me check. We have the gap between Andre and yeah, the new guy is pretty significant. And then we have Edis running a solid P9, and then he comes back to, I believe so, I think Edis is gonna be a Pro-Am driver by the looks of his pace, because you can see the gap between him and Keepsy. Yes, there is a gap, but then again, it's gonna be a little bit of yeah, it's I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure where he will be in the divisions. I think Keepsy goes a little bit wide, but keeps it in the track. That's a great recovery from Keepsy right there. All right, I'm gonna take a few minutes break, and then we're gonna move up in the grid, and let's see. Made you there? Let me see. I'm not quite sure if the stream's gonna pick up your voice. Let me see. Did you allow the settings? Nope, I still cannot hear you. I still cannot hear you on the stream. Because I can hear myself, but I cannot hear you. And then you need to increase your mic sensitivity as well. All the way. Yeah, that is pretty good. But I still cannot hear you. You need to allow the party sharing. Did you get it fixed? Good morning, nerds. Welcome to the stream. Did you find the setting? Yeah, I can hear you, but your voice is not in the stream. Yeah, you need to give the permission to share your voice in the stream. Yeah, maybe just Google a bit. That's gonna help. Alright, I'm gonna go into my usual commentary then. Where we are, I think we already done a few pit stops. I've seen for us meaning the team Porsche, we are running 7 laps stints, and we can see there was a little bit of a difference between the strategies. Maybe like a 1 lap, some people maybe pitting 1 lap ahead and then maybe 1 lap afterwards. There was not much of a difference between the teams because this is a long track. I don't know how many kilometers long that is, but then it takes you 4 minutes to go around the track, so it's a long track. And so there cannot be like multiple laps differences because from what I know that the cars will give you around 8 7 8 laps, probably 8 9 laps of fuel. But maybe you can extend a little bit, but then you have to fuel save a little bit. The race leader Scott comes into the pits. Seems like he has done a really solid stint, and that is also but a 9 lap. And then Dragon also goes to the pit with the same amount of fuel. These two cars seems to be running really similar race, but then the gap seems to be not that close between them. And Presley goes into the lead as usual. Keepsy comes into the pits as well, and Keepsy having 10% of fuel. That's really surprising. I mean, that's a lot of fuel that he has, but then not quite enough to go another lap. So I believe the GTR is having a little bit more efficiency when it comes. Timo, you have the speaker on in your phone? I'm getting an echo. Maybe you can lower down the microphone sensitivity just a tad bit. Yeah, just a bit. All right, we have a proper fight right now. We have Scott in P2, and then Timo, myself, and Nereus, all 3 Porsches are following him, but not very far behind. And this is gonna shake things up when we goes into the straight. With this turn, whoever gets the better exit. This is gonna be interesting. Did you figure it out, Timo? Your voice is there? Is it? You can hear yourself in the stream? Apparently. All 3 Porsches following Scott. As of right now, this is gonna be a really close one, and look at that. You're here? You can hear yourself as well? And Timo goes into P2. That was teamwork at work. There was a lot of bump drafting, and then Timo gets the pace to go a little bit ahead of Scott there, and then myself as well, but not quite side by side. I think I pushed Scott right there, and then Scott goes back into the lead. That is giving the bump draft to the wrong person. And we have, look at that, how close we are running. And then Timo goes to the inside and he goes to the outside, and there was a lot of movement. Look at that, that is crazy. And then and then I'm giving him a bump draft again, and then I think Timo finally goes into the lead, and then Nerix following Scott closely, but he did not get the slipstream enough, and then I go wide a bit, and that puts me behind Scott again. But then that gives Nereus the chance to go forward, and then this gonna be really interesting because I now have the opportunity to give the bump draft to Nereus. As you can see, Nereus all the way to the edge of the track. And Scott is getting hunted down by the Porsches right now. You can see 3 of them surrounding him. There was, I mean, but all in all, it is really clean racing. I mean, there was no bumps or anything. I mean, apart from the bump drafting, there were no major contacts as well. But all in all, Scott is keeping it really clean though through the Porsche curves, and we are reaching the end of the lap, the final 2 chicanes. But Nerix picked up another half a second penalty, and that's not gonna help him in his fight. And I get ghosted as well. That means there was, if there is no ghosting, yeah, that's gonna be a contact between me and Scott. But then really glad the ghosting is there. Timo, did you work it out? I'm not sure. maybe you can say something a little bit louder, and then maybe I'll see what's. No. It's there. There's still nothing. There's still nothing. Yeah, we need to sort this out. That as of right now, Nerix was giving a bump draft to Timo, but then in the meantime he lost the lead to Scott, because Scott gets he keeps the place. I mean, really neat and tidy. Yeah, he's showing his colors. I mean. He's showing how good he is on the track with all 3 Porsches surrounding him, and it's still not giving it up. I mean, this is really great racing. And then I'm all the way back right now. But then, yeah, Norris gets the place back again with the slipstream, and he goes back into P3. And Scott did not get a really good exit right there. You can see that I'm closing up to him really fast. Right at the back of him, gets the slipstream, goes to the inside, side by side as of right now. This is really good stuff. And who's gonna brake late, gonna get the corner? And I think that is myself, of course. Brakes a lot late, and gets the move done, and back into P4. This could have been a lot frustrating to Scott, actually, when 3 of them working against him. But then that is how the game is. That is how it plays. I mean, bump draft is not illegal in GT Sport, and it is not illegal in here. And then the pack seems to be spread out a little bit as of right now. Dragon in P6 and Musi in P7. No major changes apart from Dragon. He dropped into P6. I think it came with his pit stop, and I'm not quite sure actually what happened there, why he dropped to P6, because he was running P2, P3, maybe P4. Did you find the setting, Timo? But you didn't. Hold on, let me check for it. Timo, I've sent you a link. You can check it out. Maybe. The gap now between myself, Timo, has grown a little bit because we've been bump drafting each other to get away from Scott because we need to create a gap. Many penalties, of course. The track is really brutal, and then to compensate for that, we need to build up a gap. And then Nereus is not really helping himself. He goes a little bit wide there. I'm not quite sure if it is gonna be. Yep, that's a half-second penalty because through the chicane you cannot cross those white lines. You need to stay within those white lines. On the straight, yeah. On the straights, the track is really open. You can go anywhere you want. But on the chicanes, you have to be really, really careful not to exceed those track limits, and then gets another half-a-second penalty. And this gonna give Scott a bit of relief because he can get his P4 back once again. And then if you look at Dragon is not far behind, but he's keeping it steady. And then followed by Musi. Musi is also not far behind from Dragon. But then I think Musi is getting penalties as well. And if we are looking at the times, you can see Musi is running 4.9s, 4.7s, 4.8s. The times are not that much, not that consistent. I mean, it's really difficult to get it consistent in this track with all the penalties happening. But then if you look at Dragon's times, we have 4.8s and 4.9s, same, but he does a 4.6. That is his fastest lap. And then we go to Scott. He stays within 4.7s and 4.8s. Seems a little bit consistent there. I mean, he got a couple of penalties, and I have right now one penalty for me, half-a-second penalty for me as well. You should have it now. Just give it a test to open. I'm not quite sure I can still hear. I'm holding the phone close to my ear. I think the next time we need to do like a test stream and get everything sorted out. Let me check it on my stream settings. Hopefully that does not screw my stream. Let me just go to the stream setting and check it out really quickly. Broadcast, and let me click that. What will happen there? Yeah, I'll capture option. Oh, so that was that was all. That was all me. Yeah, my bad for that. But then I'm not sure. I still cannot hear you. Nope. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not quite sure actually what's happening because I have all my settings as of right now. Include party audio and everything is on. Maybe is it at the start of the stream, but it doesn't make sense, right? Nope. Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry about that. I mean, tried everything. No, next time we'll do a test run and then we'll see how it is. Yeah. Yep. All right. Yep. You too. All right. So I was talking to Timo this whole time because we wanted to co-broadcast the whole thing, but then it did not happen, and we were trying to get his voice in the party chat, in the stream, but it doesn't seems to be working. But I'm not quite sure what went wrong there. But let me check if I can, if the stream has my voice. All right, yeah, yep. My voice is still there. So the fight is on actually between Neris and Scott. Yeah, Neris was having a really rough time keeping it in the track, and then he's getting back-to-back penalties. I mean, did not help his race. And then Dragon also catching up to him, and between myself and Scott, there is a little bit of a gap formed. I think it is 4 or 5 seconds of a gap as of right now. So need to go back all the way, and we need to see our how's our AM division is doing. And then Presley is completely on another league, and I still need to open up. I still need to open the hold on. I still need to open the track map. Gets a little bit of a slight wiggle, but then everything is under control, and he's not gonna lose a lot of time. And of course, none of us have that much of a chance of catching him because all of us are currently in the second chicane of the. Is it the Mulsanne Strait? I think so. It's the Mulsanne Strait. Yeah. And let's go back all the way, and this is not really looking good for Carlos, is it? The gap between Carlos and Damon is really huge, and look at this, there's a fight going on in the AM division as well. Look at this, Damon and Oscar fighting for position, and Damon is no. Oh no! I'm not quite sure if that a slight touch, but I'm pretty sure these guys can work it out. But I'm not quite sure if that a touch or not, because I have not seen that, because I was paying attention to Andre going into the grass, and then Oscar closes the gap to Andre, and Andre was not really having a good time in this race. He's a little bit frustrated as well because the car is not working for him. And Oscar gets that place. Says thank you very much, because Andre goes into the sand there at the exit of the final chicane, right before the checkered line. And that seems to be yeah, Katz is not getting really good exit. I mean, this is understandable because he was in the stand, and then he needs to take care of his throttle inputs when he's exiting out of those corners, because his tires are dirty, and then this does not help as well because he's outside of the track a little bit, the dirty side of the track. I'm not quite sure how the marbles work in GT7, but then if you go to the marbles, and then it's gonna make you lose a lot of grip as well in real life. But then this is the fight for the championship actually, and myself and Timo goes into the pits, and this I believe so opens up the P2 for Scott. And yeah, there is no sign of rain as of right now. Oscar goes into the kitty litter now in the first chicane, and that gives the place back to Andre. He misses the braking point completely, and it goes straight into the kitty litter. And we have Damon at P13 closing the gap to Oscar because of the incident. And then look at the gap between hold on. Yeah, the gap between for the quick camera change. Look at the gap between Carlos and Damon, because Carlos is usually a really fast throughout the season for his division, but then he seems to be not having a great time as of right now. And then we do have I think who's at the back? That's gonna be Presley. I think Presley is going to lap Presley's going to lap Carlos now. I think this is the first time that someone's gonna lap in this race. After 14 laps, we are at the 1 hour mark in the race. We have 1 hour remaining, and then 14 people in the lobby. Really great to see that as well. And let's go to the mid pack slowly. I mean, I'm not gonna switch real fast here. Let's go to the mid pack and see how they're doing. And yeah, welcome to everybody. Good morning to everybody who's joining in. And if people joining from down under, yeah, good evening, good afternoon. I think for Mercy and Presley, if they're joining, that will be, I think, good afternoon for them. But for everybody, the rest of the world, yeah, it's a good morning. So good morning to everybody. I hope you all are having a really nice day. And Andre is still leading the pack for the AM division, because we can clearly see the new guy, the guy with the name really hard to pronounce. Can somebody help me in the chat? Is this Greece? I mean, I'm really bad with the flags and everything. Yeah. I mean, that would be, yeah, Greece. All right. Okay. Yeah, I think he's a friend of Dragon, I guess so. But yeah, definitely, I believe so in Pro-Am if he's continuing to participate, because Dragon, I'm sure he's gonna be participating in the races. And I'm not quite sure where to put Dragon, because Dragon has, when it comes to the season 3 qualifier, he has, I believe so, the second fastest time. Maybe we'll see what happens with him. As of right now, he's showing solid pace out there, but then made a few mistakes and collected some penalties, which is I mean, not something rare in this track. And he seems to be, the new guy seems to be, I mean, really good in his pace, but he has a slight gap to Musi. But he's definitely not in the AM division, definitely not, because yeah, look at the gap from him to the AM division. That's where the AM division started, and I think it is in the Pro-Am as well. Safe to say, safe to put, it is in the Pro-Am division as well, showing solid pace here against Musi, because Musi, I believe so, has the fastest car on a straight line. And then yeah, penalty is not gonna help, and then if you make a mistake and your exit's gonna compromise your top speed. I mean, if you lose like mid corner speed by even 2 or 3 kilometers per hour, and that's gonna cost you all the way throughout the straights to the either the chicane or the next turn. Yeah, so the track is brutal. I mean, and we can see it's getting darker right now. Whether it's, oh, Nereus is absolutely not having that. Chicane is, I mean, he's not getting that. I'm sure not. It's not gonna be a penalty. I hope not. But yeah, I mean, it's really tough, because you have seen the performance of Nereus throughout the past races, where he starts at the back, then he climbed all the way to the top 5. So gets sent oversteer, not helping. That's really bad timing. I mean, this is what happened to me at the start of the race, and then Eddie comes in and gets the position. Oh, there's more oversteer. Nope, it's not gonna keep it. In the track. I mean, it's. I think the track temperature as well is going down, because of there is no yeah, there's really less sunlight. I mean, it's getting cloudy. The track temperature goes down and the tire temperatures go down. Yeah, I mean, he almost saved it, but then it yeah, goes into the grass and going into the especially the dirt. Yeah, it's gonna make your tires dirty, and then yeah, it's gonna I'm not quite sure how to put it. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna have a good time with that. I mean, look at the bruises of the car. I mean, he dropped from Musi as well. I mean, that was 2 instances where he went wide at one turn. So yeah, that is really bad luck right there. I think the track temperature and the weather is not even helping, because the tires are usually getting older, and And thanks to GT7 for having all those information available for us to show the tire temperatures and everything. I mean, they are clearly having those tire temperatures, of course. And then yeah, they have not. I mean, they have decided us not to give any of those informations. I mean, we just have to assume. And Presley, the race leader, comes into the pit. I'm pretty sure that Scott's going to get that place back. I'm pretty sure, but then again, I'm not sure as well, because Presley was having a huge lead and he lapped, I believe, Carlos as well. And then it's getting hazy again. It's getting hazy, and then there's a little bit sunlight in between as well. But yeah, the weather is all over the place as of right now, and Muzi is closing up to 80s, and you can see. Yeah, that's a beautiful sounding car, but not as beautiful as the AMG. Sorry about that, because yeah, the AMG sounds really nice. I think it's not the nicest sounding car. Of course, that would be the Porsche, the best sounding car in the game when it comes to the Group 3 cars. But then, yeah, AMG is a close second right there. I mean, RSR, in the history of motorsports, RSR has been one of the really nice sounding cars in the game. Grab the controller and, yup, pretty much faithful. I'm really loyal to the brand, and yeah. And we have wipers going on, and this is going to be a little bit of a rain here falling down on Le Mans. We have a close battle going on with Kipsy, myself, and Timo. And Scott comes ahead from the pits. I think he came out with the softs, as I remember. But there was a slight rainfall, but the wipers went off. But then again, they went. I mean, I think it was like maybe a little bit of a, what do you call it? I'm not quite sure what it's. I mean, I know the rain, I know the light rain, I know heavy rain. That's it. I mean, apart from that, I don't know the other terms. But then, yeah, the Porsches are back at teamwork again. You can see working together beautifully. And but then I think Scott took a really short stop as well, and then goes to the outside, keeps it inside, brakes a lot earlier. That is really unlikely. I mean, he braked way too early, giving that position really easily to us. And then we are right at the back of Scott. I'm not quite sure about the rain. Yeah, of course, of course, could be. I mean, could be. That could be a reason. But the lights are fully on right now, and it's looking really misty. 4 cars all packed up together, but Kipsy seems to be not having his pace. I mean, not having the pace that he showed in Mount Panorama, but then he showed a little bit of pace in Daytona. But Kipsy mentioned that this track is new to him, and yeah, he needs a lot of practice in this track. So completely understandable. And we are again closing the gap to Scott, but then Scott is in a fresher, softer compound as of right now. Look at that, the mist or the haze or whatever you call it. I mean, this is really not treacherous. I mean, difficult conditions, I think. So when it comes to the tire management, I think the tire temperature, not the tire management, not that I know of tire management. We just do the Porsche things right here with the teamwork. The team game is being pretty strong. The first bit of the race, all three Porsches, but then it's really unfortunate for Nerix having a lot of penalties, and that I mean, yes, there were a little bit of oversteer moments as well. I mean, apart from that, we would have been close together in the order, but then as of right now, things are looking completely different. But then look at Scott. I think even with the team, I think with the bump drafting, Scott is really fast and keeping his car on the track and showing his pace right now. Look at him flying through the curves and Porsche curves, and then coming into the chicane. There's no sign of rain as of right now. I'm not seeing any. But then it looks like the rain is gonna fall anytime now. You look at the skies. I think Scott is pulling away as of right now, because we are all in used medium tires, and I mean used as in I'm not quite sure how many laps. How many laps are those? I think we are coming to the end of the stint as of right now. It is 18 laps. I think maybe 21 laps will be the the next pit stop. So we are at the end of the tire cycle as of right now, and yeah, that is helping Scott with his fresh softs. Fresh softs, and he's getting most out of it. Look at that. I've got a huge gap right now, and he is about to lap. Oh, goes wide a little bit. Goes wide a little bit. This could be a penalty, but I'm not quite sure. But he seems to have went off the white lines, but then maybe not. Maybe quite not. Maybe quite not. He saved there. I mean, yeah, a penalty would have given us the edge right there. And you can see Dragon is back in his usual position. And there, I think the rain has started falling at the end of Mulsanne Straight. And yeah, it is raining. It is raining. Now it is raining, and then looks like. Let's see who's gonna pit first. I mean, yeah, Dragon, I believe so, in medium compound as well, and Presley all the way. I mean, not far behind of Dragon as of right now. I think it'll be maybe like a 10-15 seconds. I mean, not that far behind, but Dragon is running a beautiful race here. And then this comes down to who keeps the car on the track, and seems like he's on a medium set of tires. I'm not sure whether he has went to inters or anything. But then look at that. Now this is the time you can prove yourself. I mean, everybody can run a race in the dries, but then how good you are in the rain, yeah, I mean that's gonna show your class. I mean, how skillful you are. There is a yellow flag. I think this is. Oh no, yeah, there goes Timo, and then Scott as well. Scott takes the place and goes slowly. I mean, we are at the crawling speed. I mean, this is a really bad call from my side as well. I mean, we should have pitted a lot earlier, and because we are in medium compound, and this is not helping us at all. I mean, I believe I went to traction control all the way to the highest traction control, and let's see who's gonna pit first. But Presley is keep going, but Dragon goes into the pits. I think he's gonna go into intermediates. I believe so. Dragon goes into the pits, and this is really good timing from him. Look at that. He has 3% fuel in his car. This is really good. And Presley is sliding all over the place. I think so. This is not good. Look at that 1.5 second penalty. I don't think this is a justified penalty for him. I think he definitely went out through that chicane, but then my man is keeping the keeping the track. Look at that. There was a little bit of a drift as well, and we are okay. Myself with 46% of fuel. That is not a great pit stop for me. I think I'm gonna refuel as well, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. And Scott as well comes in with the softer compound, soft tires. And yeah, for us this is not an ideal pit stop, because if we pitted a lap earlier, we would have not been crawling to the pits, because we would have been in a much better state with the inters. And then look at the pace of Presley, because Presley has a huge lead. He had a huge lead before the rain. I mean, but look at this man is in the rain with slicks. I mean, you have to give a medal to this guy, keeping there out there in the slicks, and of course Timo as well. I mean, this is huge balls of steel. I mean, staying out in a wet track with slicks. So Timo didn't pit as well, but then myself pitted for inters, and I'm catching Timo really fast. And of course, same goes to Scott as well. He's on inter tires as well, inters as well, and then he's gonna come back to catch Timo as well. Yeah, it's a big mistake, because I mean, yes, you saved that 40 seconds of extra pit time, but then how many seconds you gonna lose on the track, early braking and things like that, going off the track and trying to oh, and Andre is not having his race either. I mean, I think he's on the slicks as well. I mean, for me, there's nothing for me to do, because I cannot even bump draft Timo as of right now. Look at that, Andre is slipping on the straight. I mean on Mulsanne straight. I mean, yeah, that is, these conditions are really bad for a slick tire, and the time you're gonna lose, I mean, yeah, you'll keep your time on the straights, but then as soon as you approach those turns, chicanes, and then especially the Porsche curves, you're gonna have a really bad time. And then the amount of time that you're gonna lose, let's see how Scott is doing. And then Andre, I think he got a penalty as well. I don't know for what, from what I've seen, he got a penalty. And then this is Timo, and this is Scott in the background, and this is gonna spice things up a little bit. But then of course I think Scott gonna get past Timo quite easily, because the time Timo's gonna lose in Porsche curves, it's gonna be a lot. I mean, let's look at the out lap time for Scott, and the lap time for Timo as well. Timo's lap number 18 was 5 minutes. I think that is because of the spin, obviously. Look at that, how close is Scott right now to Timo. I mean, Timo is literally close. I mean, crawling at this stage because the grip level is pretty bad, and it comes with a half a second penalty as well. On the straight, yes, on the straight you can keep it. You have the speed, but then as soon as you approach those corners, look at that. Look at that. That's the difference between intermediates and slicks on a wet track. How easy was that for Scott to get that move done, and he flies past him right there. And then imagine, it's already, I believe so, it's a maybe 2 or 3 plus seconds in the lead, and then imagine our pit stop is given at the end of 21st lap, and then imagine how much time Timo's gonna lose, because yeah, even as of right now, if you look at him, he's at the second chicane already, and then Timo is now coming into the first chicane, and then the second chicane. But then the gap, if you can look at it, the gap is significant. Yeah, the gap he pulled there is significant, and I think the track is gonna dry up really fast. And hold on, I have not seen this. I have not seen this in the race. I mean, Dragon goes into the lead, passing Presley, and look at that in the background. That is Presley in the background, and then Presley is doing the same strat as Timo. Both of them have stayed out on the wet track, and Dragon is all the way to the end of the track. Because the track is drying up, you need to stay in the wet patches to cool down your tires, because otherwise the tires gonna die really fast. Look at that. Yeah, that's what you have to do of course in this situation. But then Presley has lost a lot of time there, staying on the slicks, but then I think he's gonna come back onto his usual pace, because the gap is not that huge. If you look at that, Dragon is coming into the end of Molson straight, and Presley as well in the same, but then goes again a little bit wide into the dirt. Not gonna help him, because but not gonna help him if there was a corner. If there was another corner close by, but then he's on the straight as of right now, it's gonna get his tires a little clean by the time he's gonna reach the next turn, the fast right-hander. Myself with Presley, I mean, there's a huge gap between myself and Presley. I think somebody's in between that. Is that a lap car? Let me check that. Yep, there's a lap car between myself and Presley, but then there's no way in hell that I'm gonna get this get into those positions, because Dragon is leading the race and he has a pit stop. Me, I'm in P3. I have a pit stop as well, but then Presley he doesn't have a pit stop. I think so. I hope so, because he's in the slicks already, and the track is drying up. And let me see the gap between Scott, and Scott has picked up a 1 second penalty. And look at the gap between Timo and Scott. If you look at the minimap to the top of the right side corner of the screen, and he has picked up a 1 second penalty, but then it's not gonna do any harm to him, because as of right now, Timo has to pit again, and Scott has to pit again, and because those are the two drivers who are fighting for the championship, the podium places P2 and P3. All right, I'm gonna be back real soon. We are 1 hour 25 minutes into the race right now, and the rain has fallen, and it is the track is now drying up, and you still can see there is a spray there is spray if you touch the curbs, there is still spray, so the curbs have not dried out, but there is a dry line. But then yeah, you still can see the side of the tracks are still really wet. And Scott comes into the pits and yeah, I think he's gonna go into the slick tires, and Timo keeps going, gets the place. But then again, remember that Timo has a pit stop as well to make, and Edis comes into the pits as well. I mean, Edis is really showing really good pace. I mean, he's not that far behind from Scott as well, and myself in front of Timo. We have yeah, picked up a really nice half a second penalty right there. And then yeah, I'm not in any contention to fight for P2 or P1 anyways, because you can see the gap between us. I think it's somewhere around 30 to 35 seconds, so that's not gonna come down magically unless somebody makes a huge mistake track. And yeah, I think, oh, there we go. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but I completely missed the braking point. I mean, it is not that I've I mean, it is not that I've missed the braking point, and I mean, I did miss the braking point, but I think, as I remember, I was not paying attention completely. And we are heading into the night, are we now? Yeah, all right, yeah, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, looking at the times, I mean, looking at the gaps ahead, seeing that if I have any sort of chance to getting to that P2, I think, yeah, because of that, I mean, I missed my braking point completely. Goes into the kitty later like an idiot. But then again, I mean, considering I had two incidents, major one, I mean, at the first lap, that was a complete disaster, and then the second one was I think going wide into the kitty litter and collecting a couple of penalties, including this one. Staying in P3 is pretty decent, I consider. I mean, if you ask me. I mean, it seems to be getting darker. Is it we are going into the night? I really can't remember. If we're heading in, I think we are. Yeah, we are heading into the night. I think we started early in the morning. We started the race early in the morning, and then we're gonna finish the race early in the morning, and we are 1 hour 28 minutes into the race, so we have 32 minutes remaining, almost 32 minutes. And Scott right now is as of right now, you can see the gap to Nerix is pretty significant, and Nerix is being followed not that far, but still Scott is pretty much in the picture, and we have a pit stop on our hand, and then 10-20 seconds, it's not gonna cut it because we need to refuel, of course, and then we need to change tires. So I think for me, I really can't remember if for myself, I think I've refueled, like, not all the way, because I've refueled when I was changing into intermediates, so I don't think I've refueled all the way in. But then I did not calculate the possibility of a lap number 29, so, but anyway, it was not gonna be the case, because the gaps are pretty significant to the race leaders, and then Presley still stays out, and then myself and Dragan goes into the pits, and still there is about 30 seconds, 35, 36 seconds of a gap, and I have not. I think the place that I think I've lost a lot of time. I mean, myself and Timo as well. We have lost a lot of time when we did not pit on that lap where the rain fell down. We should have pitted. If we have pitted that time, I mean, we would have saved a lot of time. We would have saved a lot of time, and then maybe it could have be much higher. Maybe ahead of Dragon, I think. Maybe, but that's a big maybe. And then Timo comes into the pits. Scott stays out, and Scott gets into P4, but I think maybe yep. I'm not quite sure. I think Scott came into the pits, right? Oh, is he still on intermediates? I'm not quite sure. But this is the fight actually, Scott and Timo, and I think we already have one disconnection because we used to have 14 guys and then we are down to one person as of right now. Keepsay is breathing down on Scott's neck. I'm not quite sure what kind of compound of tire that Keepsay is in. But then Scott's pace is pretty strong, and that BMW is having a pretty strong pace as well. Alright, I'm gonna take a breather and gonna come back within a couple of minutes. Let me keep